Hi, my name is Margaret Sass. Welcome to 3E TV. We are with two fantastic and innovative students, Chris and Al. We're going to be talking about some of their activities that they're working on, including Habitat for Humanity and a new Honor Society format that we have started about a year ago. So I'm going to start with you, Chris. Can you introduce what you're doing here on campus, or where you come from? Are you a freshman, sophomore, etc.?
Yeah, I'm a freshman from Cleveland, Ohio. I'm a chemical engineer here. Yeah, I guess I just came here about a year ago. I want to go, I think, to graduate school and become a professor.
Okay. And why did you choose Purdue?
I chose Purdue because I kind of really liked the attitude on campus. I felt like people were a lot more excited about what they were learning. They weren't just doing it for the job. They were more into learning because they wanted to learn and they wanted to do things in their fields. Mm-hmm. And I got the vibe that the professors really cared about what they were teaching. So I really like that attitude on campus, and that's really what kind of sold it to me.
So did you experience Purdue prior to actually coming here? I mean, did you visit the campus?
Yeah,
okay.
After I was admitted, I came here for one of the Golden Honors Days, and I hadn't really actually honestly heard of Purdue before that, which was surprising. A lot of people know Purdue. I just hadn't really heard of it, but then when I came here, it was just miles better than other colleges I went to, because other colleges I felt like they were just trying to sell me it. They're like, oh, well, you should come here because we can do this. But Purdue is like, hey, we're awesome. So if you want to be here too.
Wow, so you haven't heard, that's interesting that you haven't heard about Purdue prior to that, because you're not that far away from us.
No, I don't know why it hadn't come into my knowledge. But
Oh, so, and I wanted to ask you, Al, so tell me a little bit about where you are from and your status at Purdue.
So I'm from Columbus, Ohio. I'm a junior in the College of Agriculture. My major is Natural Resources and Environmental Sciences. And really, the huge draw for me personally to come to Purdue was simply the attitude and the people on campus. I toured probably about 12 schools, big and small. I came from a school of 19. So I graduated with 19 students. So this was a big transition for me. But I wanted to test the waters and see if this was, granted this was going to be a huge change of scenery for me, but granted I think I really fully accepted it here, and I really enjoyed the many opportunities that the campus has to offer.
So 19 students to 40,000.
Correct.
Wow. Were you living on campus? Are you living on campus? Or?
I'm currently living off campus in a house with 4 other roommates.
Okay. Very interesting. You plan on graduating next year, right?
Yep.
And what's your intended goal after you graduate?
So right now it's kind of up in the air. Based off of everything I've been doing on campus, I kind of have a few options to choose from, but granted I haven't solidified and determined which one I would like to pursue. I could go work corporate, probably try to apply for grad schools, probably stay away from professional schools, or potentially go volunteer. So there's tons of opportunities that we can pursue.
Okay, so you have a year to kind of think about it, right? That's neat. So the reason why I brought you both together is because you're working on some type of initiative, right?
Yeah.
And I know you're both from the same area, but you met here on campus, or
Yes.
you met somewhere?
Yeah.
Okay, which is really interesting, actually.
Actually, there's an even funnier story there. We actually met at Northwestern. At
Northwestern.
Correct.
Okay.
We met at a conference focusing on sustainability, and Chris pitched his idea at this conference, and I pitched a separate one. But I was really interested with what Chris had to say, and so I was really enthusiastic about his pitch and what he wanted to do on campus. And so we met afterwards and started going from there.
So when you mean by pitch, was that like a verbal, open discussion?
Yeah, it was a conference for
okay.
people that wanted to pitch ideas for how to change college campuses. So we all went there and we had a 5-minute pitch on what we wanted to do, and then we just kind of talked about it the whole time there.
That's really neat. I haven't been to a conference like that before. That is a really cool thing. Are you guys going back this year? Or now that you have the pitches done?
I don't know. I think that was the first year that they did that conference.
Correct.
Oh, okay.
So I believe they got, the organization got funding from the University of Minnesota to host the conference. It was very small scale, which was great because you were able to pitch incomplete ideas and get feedback from other people. But I'm not sure whether or not the conference will be on again or if it was just a one-time thing.
Well, that's neat because it brought you two together, right? To
Yeah.
discuss this initiative. So I know that it's in the beginning stages. So can you provide some information about what exactly are you thinking of doing and how you plan on doing it?
Yeah, so the idea is what I'm calling Innovation Pad,
Okay.
is that when I came to campus, I was kind of expecting everybody to be entrepreneurs and wanting to like start their own things and like inventing stuff.
Right.
But like it didn't really happen, which is understandable. But like people just get busy with classes, like there's
Right.
other concerns. So I wanted to kind of, I don't know, jumpstart that community and have like a bigger culture of innovation on campus. So my idea is that the people that you hang out with most, the people that you talk to and that influence you are the people you live with. So we want to create an off-campus living community of people who want to invent things, who want to start companies, who want to like come up with inventions that are going to increase the sustainability of our world. And we're going to put them all together in this house where they can kind of bounce ideas off of each other.
Okay. And you think in Purdue you feel is a good location to start something like this?
Well, yeah, because I feel like there's a lot of student potential that's just not being realized. I hear people coming up with ideas. I know there's lots of smart people. It just seems that there's not enough outlets for them to like really utilize their ideas or put them to action.
And I think because of building or having a house, because of it being such a walkable campus, that's kind of ideal, right? Are you thinking of an area really close to campus as a possible site for?
Yeah, we would hope so. And the idea is that eventually it would get started up as something that Purdue would want to showcase and say, like, look at these inventions that students at Purdue are starting, look at what they're creating. So it should be somewhere close to campus because like, it's linked to what people are learning and what people are doing.
So now that you have this idea and that you're working together, what's your process at this moment? What are you doing right now to move forward?
So we meet on a weekly basis.
Okay.
Potentially a little bit more, throw ideas, and I mean sometimes something will just pop up into one of our heads. Pitch it, throw it to the other person, see what they think. But right now we are currently in the process of trying to apply for 501c3 status as a specific sort of nonprofit organization. In that will require, there's a multitude of requirements which we need to obtain that status, and so we're currently in the process of developing infrastructure and capital in order to apply for 501c3 status.
Okay. What do you need in order to fulfill that?
Well, one of the things is we have to have like an office, we have to have a working website, we have to get an employer identification number, which isn't really difficult to get, but they're just things. Right now what we're trying to do is come up with like a comprehensive 5-year plan and budgets for all the years and really nail down exactly what we're going to do so that we can like put it on websites like Kickstarter, go to people and ask for funding.
So it's not on Kickstarter yet?
No.
Correct. One of the things that we're trying to do is build the correct infrastructure for the time being to pitch to investors so that we can get the necessary funds to pursue these requirements which we need to fulfill. I mean, granted, there's also monetary requirements. We have to pay a fee to apply for the status. Granted, we aren't professional web developers, so we may have to hire someone to create a website for us. Granted, another possibility and outlet which we would love to utilize is all the students on campus. There's tons of knowledge here, and so it'd be great if we could utilize people in specific majors and programs who are focusing on these things for their careers to collaborate across many different disciplines in order to achieve our goal. So we're spraying our hands out all over looking for help.
So is it just you two right now, or do you have a group that you're working with in general?
There's a few other people who are interested in it. They're not
Okay.
really helping us run, like getting it started as an
Okay.
organization, but there's definitely people that we know that are interested in being a part of this house if we did get it started.
So one other thing though is we also create a student chapter, I guess, of Innovation Pad, and this is the primary purpose of the student chapter is to obtain and gain interest from the student body for people to live in the house.
Right.
So we created the student organization. We had to have a few members to do that. So far we have pitched interest to certain people, but before we really try to gather more members, we need to have a really set plan and goal, a plan of action. So that's kind of what we're working on for the time being.
So the people that are interested are part of that chapter at this moment, right?
Correct.
So are you planning on doing anything during the summer to move this forward?
I'm going to be on campus doing Survey this summer, so I'm hopefully going to be able to work on getting funding for that, because if we want to start it in 2015-16, we'd have to basically have funding and housing plans ready for this fall, because that's when people start signing contracts. So we'd really have to have all that funding finished by the end of summer.
So pretty much we have to have a house or a living condition set up if we want to have this implemented for the 2015-16 school year. We would need to have something by the end of this fall so that we could have, so that people wouldn't be up in the air on their housing situation. So we want to have all this implemented so that we can get a pool of people interested, so they can pitch their ideas, so that we can pick which ones would be best suited for our organization, which ones we could help the most.
So if I'm looking at a timeline, you need funding probably by the start of the school year, right? And that is what's the ideal number of money that you need to actually get it moving in fall?
Well, our idea is nobody's just going to give us a house like up front to
Probably
buy.
not, no.
So our idea was that we'd do like a test run. We'd ask for like an initial investment from people,
Okay.
and then we'd run it 1 year, just rent out an entire house and run
Okay.
it in that. So we don't own the house. We can't really modify it, which was one of the big ideas. We wanted students to be modifying the house to improve its sustainability. So this would just be a run to see like, can we generate ideas? What's the community going to be like? Is it really beneficial? And I think our budget for that's going to be somewhere a little under $40,000.
Okay. and you want to create the house that you want to rent out first for the 2016 fall year? Is that how
Yeah,
that would
2015,
work?
2016 year,
Okay.
we'd want to have a rented house for people to live in, just to like showcase the community. And then the following year, we'd want to buy a house and
Okay.
start at the actual community.
Wow, that's pretty intense, isn't it? So okay, so you need initial startup, or at least people dedicating a certain amount of money in fall to make sure it's even going to work in about a year or so to rent out the
correct.
space.
And one other thing, though, is, I mean, granted, the students who are living in the house, I mean, they're not living completely rent-free. They will have to pay probably a fee that's, I mean, it'll be less than the average around here, probably. I would imagine somewhere in the area of $300.
Okay.
And that's significantly less than rent for a home in most, in this general vicinity. So in terms of the $40,000, we're going to be getting a lot of that back through rent.
Okay.
And so that is not going to be I guess say it's not a negative investment, because we're going to be getting money back from that. And so we won't be completely losing a $40,000 initial expenditure just off the bat. It'll be a positive, I don't know the best words to put it, but it'll be a positive.
It'd be like we have a business plan, basically.
Correct.
That's what he's saying. When we have the houses, we're going to be collecting money, and instead of that money just going to a landlord and making profit, it'll go to just paying off the house, and then once that's done, it'll be going to more houses. So it's
Okay.
kind of a
Or
closed system.
potentially to invest in these specific students' innovations.
Yeah.
Okay, so when you're trying to figure out the 40,000, part of that is going to be showing the cost of rent.
Correct.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's actually quite doable, isn't it?
I believe so.
So what is the amount of money that you need to even sign up for a nonprofit? Because I know there's a fee.
The fee is, I think, $850.
Do you have some plans on how you want to? Would you use that for Kickstarter? To find the $800 through Kickstarter or something?
Yeah,
Okay.
we have the budget. The $40,000 isn't just for rent. That's including all the fees about
Okay.
getting it started, paying for lawyers, going through that whole legal process, starting up a website. That's part of the whole $40,000. So we would be asking for that investment and then using that to start the organization and develop all those things.
So you're going to have a really busy summer,
Yes.
right? Trying to find the money, trying to get something established so when all the new students in the fall, you can pitch it to them with a chapter and then kind of grow from there into a nonprofit.
Yeah.
So your source of volunteers or possible people that will be living in the house will come from the chapter itself,
Yes.
right? And then you'll already have the format kind of provided to them so they know what they're kind of getting into.
Yeah.
Okay, very interesting. And then you'll be a sophomore, won't you?
Yeah.
And you'll be a senior.
Correct.
So that will be interesting because once you are graduating,
Right. So
Okay.
it's a very interesting situation, because part of our 5-year, 3-year even plan is to have a full-time paid employee. And so this is, granted, I find this to be incredibly fun and a lot more interesting than a lot of the schoolwork that I've been doing. But I'm not sure, right now, I mean, granted, there's nonprofit organizations who some of their employees are paid by the state in order to do their job, and so this is something that I'm going to look into to see whether or not we can get this sort of funding so that right off the bat I could just go work full time for this new corporation and then really get things moving with a full-time employee. And so it's right now I'm not sure where I'm going with
Right,
my
of
job
course.
situation, but granted, it's something that I'd love to pursue, and we'll just see how the options level out.
so it's a different type of sustainability, isn't
Absolutely.
it? So if I were a student and I was living in this house, what kind of idea would I pitch? Can you give me a general example of what you would think would be interesting that a student living in the house would try to do as a project?
Well, the idea is that when they apply to get into the house, that they would be giving us some kind of a design idea, like
Okay.
some idea they had, some invention, or something that they want to pursue, and then at their time in the house, they're supposed to like actually do that and put into place and kind of see if it works and like do that invention. So like that could really be anything. It could be an invention. It could be an idea. It could be like some kind of just format of a sustainability company if they want to run it. Like, oh well, maybe this will improve how we view sustainability or how like supply chains work, anything like that. But then the idea is that once they're in the house, they're also coming up with ideas of how to modify the house because it is going to be based in an old home, something that's
Right.
already there. So the idea is that they'd be able to come up with ideas to fix up that home, to make it better, and hopefully with low cost because they don't really have that much of a budget. We'd be able to provide them with some funding, but
Right.
the idea is that they can take their ideas and their knowledge to modify the house and make it better, and then those ideas be more applicable to the general world. 'Cause
Okay. And you, yeah, sorry.
So I was gonna say that's one of the real reasons why we want to obtain a house that's
Yeah.
of the same age as many of the other ones in the area, because any innovation or thing that we do to modify the house in a positive way to help any monetary expense, it can be applied to any other person in the area, and they could receive the exact same benefits financially. And so one thing, I mean, an initial thing someone could do is just make a pamphlet about green living and the ways that you can reduce utility fees, and just there's a whole host of things you could do
Right.
to reduce house energy bills, things of that sort. And you could publish a pamphlet and pitch that to other people to say, hey, this will work. You won't have to be paying as much per month on your utilities, and money makes the world go round. And people, if they see that if they don't have to do much to modify how they live, they would easily jump on the chance to lower their utility monthly fees. And so I think that'd be something someone could pursue as a initial innovation.
So both of you would be living in the home as well, right?
Not necessarily.
Not necessarily.
Yeah, hopefully,
Okay.
but
No, hopefully, but not necessarily. What would be the ideal amount in a house?
I think it really depends on what house we get.
Okay.
I think a general number is 5. We were thinking like most houses around here can like house 5 people comfortably, but it really depends on like what house we can get, how much funding we can get.
And granted, there's also a host of legal issues with the amount of people
Yeah.
who are
Yes.
allowed in residence and things of that sort, if they're not related and all that sort of politics. And so that's something that we'll have to jump through hoops and see where that takes us. But I would imagine most of the houses in the area are capable of housing 3, 5, or 7.
Yeah, a lot of the zoning ordinances would cover that
Right.
definitely. So you probably are safe in that aspect. So there would be generally 5. Would you have like a meeting every week to talk about their status or if they're moving forward? Because what happens if they're not doing what they're supposed to be doing?
Right. So like, what's the incentive?
What's the incentive and what's the accountability?
Right. So granted, first and foremost, if you don't pursue and develop your innovation, you're not going to be able to. You can apply to live in the house again, but odds are, if we see that you didn't make any progress, we're probably not going to accept you for the next year to live in the
Okay.
house. And that's, I mean, a huge incentive if you're paying less money for rent.
True.
So that's a big one there. But granted, we haven't fully developed our plan for
Right.
creative incentives or roadblocks or markers that people need to hit for their innovations. But that's something we'll be develop.
And the idea is that with our application process, we're trying to identify kids who want to do this, who want to be coming up with their inventions. So the idea is that we're providing them the outlet. They should want to pursue it on their own accord. So, well, we do want to have accountability, obviously, and make sure that they're staying on track because
Right.
it's easy to get bogged down with schoolwork and just like push it off till later.
Absolutely.
But hopefully the ideas that they want to pursue are something that's interesting enough that they don't mind putting in the time.
So granted, a huge factor we'll be considering is initiative when
Okay.
we're looking at candidates. So granted, there would probably be a formal interview when we talk to students.
Okay, so they would have an application and yet they would have
Yeah.
a formal interview where maybe you both would be interviewing the student and discussing it. That's very interesting that you also become a mentor to a certain degree, right? So as they're going along, you can mentor them on their process. So if you're going to be, let's assume that you are living in the home, both of you. Are you creating your own projects too? I mean, are you creating
Yeah,
new? Okay,
we,
you
we
are.
would be expected to do that too.
Okay, because so you're not just managing it; you're
Yeah.
actually participating in
Correct.
it. So, do you have any ideas right now that you're thinking about doing a new invention of some sort? Am I putting you on the spot?
No, like there's lots of ideas I have. I don't think I have anything that's solid enough, like scientifically, to where I know it would
Okay.
work.
Right. Well, it doesn't have to be at first, does it? I mean, scientifically, a scientific foundation doesn't have to be in place yet, right? I mean, you can just think about the process. I mean, your pamphlet idea is an perfect example to do something right now,
Right.
Because people need that.
And I mean, I feel like that one thing which couldn't hurt is we could develop some example ideas of what people could potentially pursue, because people may come to this and they may have an idea, but they don't know what avenue to take with it or what way to go. So we could pitch an idea that's in the developmental stage and show how we would help them out progressively, step by step. And so we could help people who are just formulating ideas, or people who are more who've progressed further, and so they already have some developed product or something else to pitch. So we'll be all over the spectrum of where of what we would help with. And I mean, granted, any innovation, we just want to do whatever is best for the people living in the home. And so we're just trying to create a community of innovation. So whoever is best suited for that sort of environment will probably select.
So, being a nonprofit, that's the main focus. That's the purpose, is to create a community of innovation to support people and their ideas.
Right.
Yeah.
And you're hoping that the goal is to benefit the community as a whole.
Absolutely.
Okay.
One thing, granted, I would love to pursue. I've been in contact with like the Lafayette Chamber of Commerce and many other organizations who work in the community, and I think it'd be incredibly beneficial to the community as a whole to try to stay local and use local suppliers to help fuel this new idea. And I know organizations who do like the big billboards and signs, things of that sort, and so we can pitch our idea to other people of that sort. And one thing which we were even talking about just the other day is building up a portfolio, sort of the way an artist would. Show that we have, that we took someone from this point, it was successful, and they made a profit off of it. Or in many cases, it can be even more useful to just do advocacy events and get our word out. And so we're building up a portfolio to show to people that we have the capability of taking them from point A to point Z all the way down the road, so that they're moving from development to all the way to the end to implementation. So
that would be some way to increase funding,
correct.
right? Or supporters or
Yeah.
something of that nature. So you're looking into Lafayette. I know that you volunteer with Habitat
Right.
of Humanity, and I wanted to talk to you more about it, but we're going to be running out of time soon. But they could be participants as well, because you
Absolutely.
can get a lot of their equipment from the restore,
Correct.
right?
So, I mean, furniture, things of that sort. Partnerships could easily be built between organizations such as us who are trying to achieve a common goal. Right? They're an affordable housing agency, but we're also in the same sphere. And honestly, I thought one of the great reasons why I really enjoyed Chris's idea was because the way that the student chapter operates is we get funding and we provide volunteers for Habitat for Humanity. Sort of like what we're trying to do with the student organization with Innovation Pad, is have it be a recruitment tool and a funding source for the nonprofit. And so it's kind of a back and forth. We're both mutually helping each other.
Which is great, because do you volunteer with Habitat for Humanity or another volunteer
No.
program? I know you're with the Honor
Yeah.
Society, which has a very challenging curriculum, right, as well.
Yeah, well, they're trying to get the curriculum together because they're trying to establish themselves as their own college,
Right.
aside from the academic colleges. So it's still, like, as an organization, I think, trying to get on its feet.
Right, and I think it attracts students like you that are quite really innovative and trying to make the world a better place.
Yeah,
right?
it's definitely a very good community. I really like the Honors College. Like, we all live together. I think it's really helped me find friends and find other people who are
good.
interested in things like this. And
And you have a good faculty member you're working with, right?
yeah, Jason Ware is
Yes.
kind of taking me under his wing.
He has.
Helped
he
us out
has.
getting Innovation Pad running.
Which is fantastic
Yes.
to have somebody on campus that also is teaching, helping you move forward with your ideas? Because I'm sure he's really resourceful. You'll probably be
By all
using him
means.
throughout the process,
No, yeah,
right?
he's been a major help. I'm really grateful that he's like really likes our idea and is willing to jump on it and help move this forward.
Enthusiasm is the best
Yeah.
thing to do with this.
Absolutely. Now, the show's about to end, so is there any way for students to contact you guys so they could be part of this? Yet? Or no? Or should they
We
wait
don't-
until it's on my website or something, right?
It is on Boiler Links, so
Okay.
if they wanted to kind of get involved in the student organization and help out with us getting this started as a nonprofit organization, we would definitely be interested in people helping out with that. And so they could just kind of go on Boiler Link. They
Look
could
up
just email one of us. Our
Okay.
email should both be on
Yep.
the Boiler Link page.
Perfect. Great. Well, thank you for joining us. Thank you for telling us about this great innovation. I'm really excited about it. And hopefully we'll be talking to you guys again in the fall. So we will see you next time. Bye.